Okay, so these are numbers 5 through 12 that's contained in your PowerPoint. The hardest part about doing this is, as with all these problems, is to make sure you get the right lower bound and the right upper bound. Mean and standard deviation are found differently. Mean is n times p, standard deviation is n times p times q, but the calculator will do all that. You'll be given the n and the p. If you know the p, you know the complement, the q. So there's a lot to this, but it's still basically left, right, or in between, making sure that you get the right starting point. So number 5, he's asking us for the probability of more than 8 senators are women. Here's the deal. Wherever I put the 8 doesn't make much of a difference here, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a line and put an 8 there. All right, I'm not going to put an 8 along the horizontal line. 8, for all intents and purposes, does not exist. If you're putting in a whole number for your lower bound or your upper bound, you're doing it wrong. All right, the upper and lower bound sometimes could be negative E99 or positive E99, but if you're using a whole number like 8 for your lower bound or upper bound, no, it's got to be some sort of a decimal. And that decimal is, we're going to subtract 5/10 from 8, and that's going to give me 7.5, and then we're going to add 5/10. Now my job becomes, which way am I going? And am I going to my right or am I going to my left? Do I include 7.5? Do I not include? Do I include 8.5? All right, so he says more than 8. All right, more than 8. Well, more than 8 does not include 8. So I very well, and first of all, more than means I'm going to my right, or I'm getting larger. But the idea now is more than 8 does not include 8. So if I were to start at 7.5 and go to my right, I would be including 8. Can't do that. He says more than 8. So what I've got to do is start at 8.5 and go to my right. So my lower bound would be 8.5 and my upper bound is E99. More than 8 does not include 8. All right. Number 6. We're asked for the probability of at least 2 traffic tickets. All right, so I'm going to draw a vertical line. I'm going to put a 2 here. I'm going to subtract 5/10, 1.5. Then I'm going to add 5/10. I get 2.5. All right, first question I ask myself, which way am I going? Am I going getting bigger or am I getting smaller? At least 2. At least 2 means 2 or more. So I'm going to my right. I'm getting bigger. Now the question is, do I start at 1.5 or do I start at 2.5? At least 2. Well, at least 2 includes 2. So if I were to start at 2.5, going to my right, I would not include 2. So I got to start at 1.5 and go to my right, because starting at 1.5 will include 2, and the words at least 2 means that 2 is included. So my lower bound is 1.5, my upper bound is E99. You can see some of my curves. You know, I obviously failed being an artist, but anyways, can't do it all. Number 7, fewer than 5 passengers. Fewer than 5. First thing I do, before I even think about left, right, upside down, I draw a vertical line, I put a 5. Notice 5 is not a cross. I'm not going to use 5 as a lower or upper bound. I'm not using whole numbers because I'm using this normal distribution to approximate. Now, normal means that it could include decimals. The binomial is all whole numbers. So first thing I do is I draw this vertical line, and I put a 5 here, then I subtract 5/10. And I add 5/10. What I'm actually doing is putting in the class boundaries. All right, fewer than 5. Well, fewer means I'm going to my left. I'm getting smaller. Now the question is, if I know I'm going to my left, do I start at 5/5 or 4/5? Well, the question is, to answer the question, does fewer than 5 include 5? Because if I start at 6.5 and go to my right, I would include 5. I don't want that. All right, fewer than 5 does not include 5. So I know I'm going to my left, and I'm going to start at 4.5. All right, fewer than 5. 4.5 to my left. So negative E99 is my lower bound. 4.5 is my upper bound. The exactly problems, these are the easiest of all. I draw a vertical line, I put a 4, I subtract 5/10, I add 5/10. Exactly 4 means everything in between 3/5 and 4/5. This is my lower bound, this is my upper bound, and we are in business. All right, number 9, probability of no more than 15. I draw a vertical line, put a 15, I subtract 5/10, and then I add 5/10. If I use 15 in my lower or upper, I'm doing it wrong. No more than 15. Oh, which way am I going? No more. 15 is like the limit. I can't go to 16 and 17. No more than 15. So I know I'm going to my left. Now the question is, do I start at 15.5 and go to my left, or 14.5? I answer by saying, I ask this question to myself. Does no more than 15 include 15? Yeah, 15 is good. I just can't be any more than that. So I got to start at 15.5 and go to my left. If I started at 14.5 and went to my left, I would include 15. And no more than 15 includes 15. All right, so my lower bound is negative E99 and my upper bound is 15.5. And then you would find mu and sigma. The calculator would do it. But right now, all I'm concentrating on is which way we're going, left and right. Are we including some numbers or not? This is kind of a strange one. And you probably won't see this between 12 and 16. So I would draw a vertical line at 12. I would draw a vertical line, mark at 16. I would subtract 5/10. In fact, what I got to do here is this. I got to draw another vertical line, subtract 5/10, draw another vertical line. This is going to be 12.5. Here I'd have 15.5, and here I'd have 16.5. Between 12 and 16 inclusive means includes 12 and it includes 16. So I would go from 11.5 all the way out to 16.5. 11.5, 11.5 would be my lower. 16.5 would be my upper. Same idea. Here again, I don't think another test you'll see one like this. Between 5 and 9, so I would draw a vertical line. This is 5. This would be
2 o'clock
9. And these guys here are, this is going to be 4.5. And this guy here is going to be 9.5.
Yeah, I understand.
I would have everything in between.
It's in the noontime thing?
My lower.
I think there's only 2.
My upper, because
No, it's 3. It's 2 little baby pills and 1.
9. What I'm going to do that is starting at 4.5 to include 5, and then go all the way to 9.5 to include my 9. The exactly 24. That's an easy one. Draw a line in. Once again, I'm not putting it along the horizontal axis. I'm going to subtract 5/10, 23.5, and this is 24.5. These are the easy ones because it's everything in between. This is my lower, this is my upper, and you're on your way. Of course, if you knew what N and P were, you'd find a mean. If you knew what P was, you know what Q was, and then here's what's happening. Mu is going to be N times P for your calculator, and sigma is the square root of N times P times Q. All right, hope this helps.